Good afternoon and welcome to Ask an Expert with Sarah. Sarah is our family support specialist from Ask Resource Center, and today she will be providing guidance and information regarding what is special education. And so we're very excited for her to unpack a resource that we have so that we could share it, and then she'll be able to tell you where to find that on our website.
Good morning. So I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. So special education eligibility. What is special education? So our agenda, the learning objectives, by the end of this, you will have grown your understanding of IDEA. You will learn what an IEP is, and you will be able to differentiate between services, accommodations, and modifications. So we're going to start with defining special education. But first, I do, like Deb said, want to show you where you would be able to find the document that I'm referencing here on our Ask resource site. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my webinar for a second. And if you want to do the same, you can, but I'm just going to this is going to the askresource.org. This is going to be your main page. It's going to look like this when you go into it. It has our contact information, our resources, if you ever just want to dive into that, news and events. But if you wanted to just use the search feature, you could just right here put in, if you wanted to do what is special education, you can type that in, do a search, and then it's going to give you different resources. And right here is what is special education and is who is eligible. That's what we're discussing today. So you would just click on this. It's going to bring up for you the PDF. So if you wanted to leave this up and follow along, this is the resource that we're using, or if you wanted to be able to find it later on, that is how you would do that. So we'll go back to the PowerPoint. So that's how you would find the document. So special education defined is, it is specially designed instruction at no cost to the parents to meet the unique needs of a child with a disability. That's the definition of special education. And this specially designed instruction, it can include instruction in general education. It can take place in a special education classroom. It can be in a child's home, in a hospital, an institution, or in some other setting. Special education is not a place. It is not a location. It is this specially designed instruction that happens. And then we had talked about the first learning objective is I'm hopefully going to explore with you what is IDEA. IDEA is the federal law that created and governs special education services. It stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It began in 1975, and it does require being reauthorized periodically by Congress. Most recently, that was done in December of 2004. If you wanted to learn more about the 6 principles of IDEA, you could again go to our askresource.org webpage like we did before, put in the keyword search for IDEA or 6 principles of IDEA, and we have a resource document that you could use to learn more about that. IDEA does cover children from birth to age 21. In Iowa, early access is the service that does infants and toddlers, so birth until age 3 is early access that is done through the Area Education Agency or the AEA. Then public schools is for children ages 3 through 21. And public schools and the Area Education Agency or the AEAs work in collaboration for those children ages 3 through 12. So if you in the chat would be willing to let me know, what are the ages of your children? And also if you could, or if you aren't doing this for yourself as a parent, what are the age ranges of the children that you work with? So if you'd be willing to put that in the chat, I can kind of then know what ages we are talking about as we go forward. For myself, I have a 14-year-old son, and I also have a 12-year-old daughter. All right. Next, we are going to talk about who is eligible for special education. So under IDEA, in order to qualify for special education services, a child must be evaluated and have a disability and a need for individualized services. So that first piece of being evaluated, we will be talking about that more next week, Monday. If you wanted to join us, we will clarify and go a little bit more in depth about that idea of being evaluated. But I'm going to clarify for you a little bit more this idea of needing to have both a disability and a need for individualized services. So when we talk about having a child with a disability, it can be, but it is not limited to intellectual disability, deafness, speech and language, mental health, physical health, autism, ADHD. And then we also are talking about then the idea of having a need for individualized services. So a child can have a disability and not have a need for special education services, or a child may have difficulties in school for a reason other than a disability. So things like a lack of attendance, language barriers, things like that would be that they would have difficulties, but there was not a disability. So next we're going to talk about how is Iowa's special education system unique. So Iowa uses a non-categorical eligibility system. And what that means is that a disability diagnosis is not a requirement or a consideration in determining eligibility for special education. So a diagnosis is not required for this process to take place. If you look at this little chart over here on the right, there's the different federal categories that would in fact make somebody eligible for services. But in Iowa, that is not exclusive then. It does not have to be one of these categories in order to become an eligible individual. Again, it requires that evaluation to take place and there to be a need present. So children are evaluated through different performance domains. Now, this is something we are also going to discuss further in 2 weeks when we talk about this idea of evaluation and what it all would cover. So children are evaluated through different performance domains. These are things like academics, behavior, physical, health, hearing and vision, adaptive behaviors and communication. And these performance domains are going to help us determine if there is a deficit in any skill area, which would require specialized instruction. So then lastly, the term eligible individuals is how children in Iowa are identified for special education. This is to prevent labeling so that they are not labeled with their disability. They are simply an eligible individual. So let's see here. Oh, I think I missed this one before. So what are the IDEA requirements? IDEA requires that in exchange for federal funds, states must provide a free and appropriate public education, so FAPE, to children who are identified as eligible for special education and related services. So federal funds are being given to public schools that requires that free and appropriate public education is then given. Again, if you would like to learn more about FAPE, or free and appropriate public education, you can go onto our website and we have a document there that you can look at more in depth. There we go. What is an individualized education program, or an IEP? This was our second learning objective. An IEP is a written document for each child with a disability. These are created individually. They are developed, reviewed, and revisited based on those evaluations and what is happening with the student. An IEP is written by the child's IEP team. The IEP team is the group of parents, teachers, other educators, AEA, working with that student. It is working towards progress in the general education curriculum. So the general education curriculum are those core academic subjects like reading, math, science, and social studies. And it should be done in the least restrictive environment. Means that it should be done alongside of their non-disabled peers to the extent that it is appropriate. Now, you may also need instruction in other areas, which is known as related services. So, what are related services? So, related services are transportation, developmental, corrective, and any other supportive services that may be required to assist a child with a disability to benefit from special education. So our third learning objective was differentiating between related services and accommodations and modifications. So related services are going to be these additional supports. So this could be speech and language pathology, interpreting services, psychological services, physical occupational therapy, counseling services, and all of those other things would be considered related services. Now, what are accommodations and modifications? Accommodations are designed to help a student access the general education curriculum and complete the same assignment or test as the rest of the class, but with a change in the timing, the formatting, the setting, the scheduling, the response, and/or the presentation. Whereas modifications allow adjustments to tests, assignments, and curriculum, which change the level of expectations and make the work more achievable for a student who is unable to reach grade level standards. So for example, if a child cannot read a text compared to his peers, an accommodation would be something like glasses needing to be used, or a quiet location in order to focus. A modification, if a child cannot read the text compared to peers, would be that the text would be given in a lower reading level. And that is the end of our presentation on the special education eligibility. We will pause here, I believe, to look to see if there have been any questions.
I do not think so, Sarah. One thing that Alicia did point out is that at Ask, we do follow up. IDEA is 0 to 21, but we do 0 to 26, just for everybody's reference. And so I see we have a participant joining us, and so I don't know if that person has any questions. I didn't see anything in chat show up, but I thought you did a great job unpacking and helping families understand that it is not a location, that it is where the needs are, that the IEP team, if your child is identified. So I appreciate that you hit that pretty clearly, that it's all about what the needs are, not about a place in the school or in wherever. So I think that's important for families to know and understand. So I think that thank you for reminding people, you will get a survey, so please complete it. We use that for our grants so that we can continue to provide this free service on lots of levels, not only the support from for individual family members, but these kinds of topics and opportunities for us to create documents so you have something in writing. So we do want your feedback. And I, again, thank you, Sarah, for sharing what is special education for Ask Resource Center for Ask an Expert. And have a great day, everyone. Thank you.